In this episode, we're going to be sanding the E28 and getting it ready for priming. But before we go ahead and do that, we're going to sandblast a few parts under the hood, including some oil lines and some horn components, before we move on to the next step of the painting process. A little bit about the painting process, since the car is so old and we're missing more than half the clear coat, we're going to be using a 320 grit to go around the whole car. 320 should be able to take care of the job. And after that, we'll do some guide coating, and then we'll prime, and then we'll paint. So stick around. While we wait for those horn parts to dry, I'm just going to start going around the whole car with some compressed air and start blowing off any of the already flaking off clear coat and take off those door handles too. Alright, quick update. We've been sanding for about a day and a half using 320 grit. Well, that was what I originally planned to use, but with the fading clear coat, it was pretty hard to take off with 320, so I ended up stepping it down to 220, and that did pretty well. If I could go back, I would start with 180 and then work up to 220, but that's for the next car. So what's next? We're gonna give this thing a nice wash with the power washer, some Dawn dish soap, maybe some isopropyl, and we can finally get it pushed into the garage, get it ready for priming. Stay tuned. And just like that, we made it to the first step of the painting process, priming. After we got the whole car sanded and ready to go, I realized I've never touched a paint gun before in my life. So we're gonna practice on a few smaller parts first, such as the trunk, the sunroof, and the mirrors before we move on to the actual car. And to do that, we're gonna be using this R500 paint gun paired with my 30-gallon Craftsman compressor. And we're going to be spraying some 2K high build clear coat or primer. Make sure all your parts are nice and clean, your work area is nice and clean and well ventilated. Your parts should be around 70 degrees while you're painting. So we're going to do all the little things that should add up to a great finish, and hopefully that's what we get. Stick around. Just like that, we finished our first round of priming and we actually got some really good results. With this all out of the way, we can finally get the BMW into the garage and get it all masked up and ready for priming too. I just didn't realize how difficult it was going to be to reverse the car into the booth without any mirrors. Now that the primer's all dry, I can honestly say that I'm shocked by the results. Not a single run or imperfection anywhere, and with the body all prepped and ready, I can begin sanding for paint. But before we do that, I still need to restore and prime the front bumper. I need to do that first so I can sand and paint all the parts together all at once. So keep a lookout for next week's video, and just like that, this episode is over. I'm gonna go get this thing washed. Subscribe, and thanks for watching.